Okay, so this is my second video journal. Today I went to the Hindu Temple of Greater Chicago, and this weekend actually happened to be a huge celebration at the temple. It's the 1000th birthday of one of the most famous philosophers in the Hindu religion, so it was a huge celebration that they were having with guest speakers and musicians and just a huge celebration. It was kind of required that everyone dresses up and looks nicer today. So my friend decided that I should get dressed up in a sari for today. So before I went to the temple, I went to her house to put on this so that she could give me a sari and help me put it on. Yeah, I wore this underneath because it was a darker one. It was black and blue, so it was a really really pretty just dress in general. I really like how colorful and how like different each one is, which I found it was pretty cool just to get to wear it. So she helped me put it on because it's kind of complicated the first time that you do it because you don't know what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, so and because of that, when we got there, and since I was wearing a sari and I had been a couple times before, I felt a lot less of like an outsider because I was looking like everyone else and I was with my friend. Yeah, my friend and I went alone. Her parents didn't come with us because they were coming separately. So we kind of got to do it by ourselves. It was kind of cool just to it was a different perspective to like do it just with my friend and not with just like her parents and stuff. So it was very very cool. Yeah. And the temple was amazing because everything was way more like it's usually very colorful because all of the idols have clothes and garlands around their necks and stuff. But this time it was like way more colorful. Like there was like everything just had like color on it. The walls are usually plain, were decorated. Like everything was just so much more colorful, and there were like lots of reds, lots of blues, lots of greens, lots of very traditional colors, and just a lot of very bright colors. So yeah, and there were a lot more offerings because what Hindus do is they give food as an offering to the gods because it's kind of like their human form, so it's like you need to give them food so that they can, eat and stuff like that. It's more symbolic than anything, but the cool thing is that they take the food that is offered and give it to people who are in need and who need food. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I think it's very awesome how they're willing to do that for other people and no matter what their religion. So it was kind of cool. So firstly, when we got there, we went to see a speaker who was speaking in the North India temple about how, uh, like the Gita, which is a very important book in the Hindu religion, it's about a battle, and because there's this one character named Arjuna who doesn't want to fight in the battle because there's people that he knows on both sides and he feels very conflicted over it. But then Krishna, who is one of the reincarnations of Vishnu, the preserver god, he is basically giving him counsel and saying that you essentially have to fight because it's for the greater good and stuff like that. And it's just about, it speaks on a lot of different parts of the religion that's very important. And it's about how we can take the Gita into our own lives and live with it because it's kind of like a metaphor for our own battles that we have to face. So it was a very interesting speaker. He was very, very passionate about everything that he was saying, and he was very, very, like just a good speaker in general. And yeah, it felt a little weird though while we were in there because, uh, there were a lot more guys in there than girls, which was, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I just found it kind of odd that not a lot of girls came. So yeah, because there were about 100 people listening to him, and but like there were a lot of more guys than girls, so it was just a bigger proportion, which I guess was not that big of a deal, but it felt kind of weird just because because just all the times I had come before, it was more like 50-50, like there were girls and boys and like equally, but oh well. And yeah, so yeah, and the one thing I noticed a lot more today was that more people were speaking with me, like, because I guess they just felt more comfortable since I was dressed in the sari and I looked more like I belonged. So it was kind of cool just to get to talk to people and like, not have that bridge of like, me looking different, like separating us. So it was I felt a lot more like I belonged and more like a member of the actual community. Yeah, so, and then afterwards, after the speaker had finished, we went to the South India Temple because there were musicians playing these really cool instruments. So one was playing the violin and one was playing the drums, which are pretty common. But there was one that was playing the glass harp, which I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they're like these little cups that are filled with water, and they make different sounds depending on like how much water there is in it, and it takes a lot of precision and a lot of it's very complex, and it takes a lot of like talent to play. Like it's very hard to play. So it was kind of cool because they were all playing it together and they were playing traditional music, and we just sat and watched them for a little while because it was just really cool like what they were doing. It was just yeah, they were like hypnotizing the crowd because all the music was just really good, and I found it really interesting because personally in my religion, music is what I use to connect to God a lot because I really love music and it's a big part of my life. But I found it really interesting how Hinduism has a lot of like it takes music into account too, because in some of the prayers and like holy scripts, what they do is they sing it instead of saying it, so it's like chanting, almost like chanting singing sort of. So that they also did that a little bit in between like the music playing, so it was very interesting to see how music really can relate to religions to each other. So I thought it was really cool. And yeah, so it just made me like form a connection with Hinduism that I didn't have before, so I found it really interesting. This time there were a lot of women and men there too, but there were a lot of people there because it was a huge celebration. So there were like 200 people packed in that temple, just like listening, and I found it really cool. It was a very, very, very fun thing to experience. And then after the concert, we talked some more with some people, and we all decided to get something to eat at the cafe because we were all hungry. And it was just fun getting to talk to more people than I had before, because outside of just my friend and her parents. So, and I felt like a lot more like a member of the community, and I just found that very cool. And yeah, so after that, we left, and I went back to my friend's house to give her back her sari because I wasn't gonna keep it because it's hers. So, and yeah, so it was a pretty fun day. It was definitely different and very interesting to see how they celebrate different things different than us and how than Christians, and it's just I had a very fun time today. So bye.